Undoubtedly, you've been following all of the drama unfolding in the market in the last week or two. We've seen stocks like GameStop, AMC, BlackBerry, and for some reason Nokia all going on crazy roller coaster rides. And today I wanted to share a little bit about my thoughts on that, particularly like, why is Nokia getting wrapped up in this? Typically on this channel, I'm usually in the mode of looking at stocks, figuring out their fundamentals, figuring out if they're like a good option for long-term growth, long-term holds. We've also looked at some of the more beaten down stocks like Nordstrom and kind of Walgreens and stuff. And recently I did a video on Nokia, which blew up. It was kind of weirdly timed because I didn't plan it that way, but Nokia for some reason has become one of these big meme stocks. But unlike GameStop and some of these other companies, the fundamentals are like really solid. So I was like really excited about Nokia. I started buying a bunch of it, and then I saw it go up crazy. And we actually saw Nokia saying like, we don't know why our stock's going up this crazy. We didn't like release some new technology or something like that. And then the price dropped back down to kind of $4 or $5. And it's really crazy because I think a lot of us are like deeply disturbed by a lot of the drama that's been happening over the last couple of weeks. We've seen Robinhood stop people from being able to buy certain stocks, and probably going on behind the scenes, we're seeing even more dastardly things happening with companies like Citadel, Melvin, Citron, and then controlling the media. Check it out here. We have on Yahoo Finance, silver prices hit highest since 2013 as Reddit army turns to commodities. And they're painting it like there's this huge number of people on Reddit who are just like, forget GameStop, we're going to commodities. But actually you go on Wall Street Bets and everybody's like, dude, the silver is a lie. Don't listen to them. The thing that sucks though is that actually silver has gone up since this huge media push that came out of probably these hedge funds, these big money managers. And I also covered in another video recently about the short ladder attacks. Some people say these aren't really a thing. You're just making this up, or Reddit just made it up. But actually Jim Cramer, who used to work in hedge funds and is on CNBC like almost every day on his show Mad Money, talked about how they used to use that to trick people into selling out and stuff like that. So check out my video on short ladder attacks. There's a link to the Jim Cramer interview confession type thing that was filmed back in I think 2006 or 7 in that video as well. So going back to today's video, I'm a businessman. I run numerous businesses, and therefore I like to invest in companies that have sound fundamentals, that have a good long-term possibility or potential to make me a return on my income. A lot of times when I do thorough in-depth videos on this channel, it's like people are like, hey, I want to learn about this company. And I'm like, yeah, I do too, so I'll do it. Sometimes I end up investing in it. Sometimes I end up finding out like, no, it's not really worth the hype. It's not really worth the price, so I don't. In the case with Nokia, I looked into it and I was like, whoa, this probably is really undervalued. And I wouldn't be surprised if it at least double or triples in the next 2 or 3 years. But this company is so overlooked that it's not instantly going to turn on and, you know, spike like 400% in one day. And so I think it's kind of crazy that it's gotten mixed in with a lot of the other like less reputable companies. Like generally AMC is like, movie theaters might go out of business. We all have good memories at AMC. We all loved it growing up. But is this business model still valid? You know, there's like Netflix, Disney Plus, HBO Now, and all these different new services coming out. And even movies are starting to be released like direct to home because we can't go to the movie theater. So we don't really know if AMC is going to last forever. And even if it does, it probably isn't going to be making way more profits than it used to. Similar with BlackBerry. It's kind of same story. GME, GameStop, is a little bit of a different story because the short position was more than 100%. They borrowed and sold more than 100% of the stocks that existed. So there was either manufacturing of fake stocks, which actually is like super not okay legally and stuff, or they're borrowing from borrowers and stuff like that. And I did create a couple of wraps on that. Check the links down in the description if you want to see those wraps to learn kind of that whole story in less than 1 minute. But I wanted to draw your attention back to what was happening with Tesla over the last couple of years. A few people have commented like, dude, the media doesn't actually control investing that much. But what we saw with Tesla over the last couple of years was like very similar. Basically, when you have all these huge legacy traditional automakers, Ford, GM, Toyota, Mercedes-Benz, Daimler Chrysler, and all these companies who are always paying huge amounts of money to magazines and TV broadcasting networks and stuff like that, it's in their best interest to protect the people who are going to be paying them for advertising. You may not know this, but Tesla doesn't spend any money on advertising. So these big media outlets are like, dude, if Tesla takes over, we're going to lose our income. So we need to also fight hard to make sure Tesla doesn't take over. Elon Musk is a very visionary guy, and his vision is like not just to make money. His vision is like, we've wrecked Earth and humanity is ruined, so we need to start figuring out how to be able to live on places like Mars, because Earth might not last us that long. So that's his modus operandi. He's not like, yeah, we need to make like 5% profit this year, like basically every other corporation is working in. And so we started to see Tesla take off. We started to see a lot of new technology, a lot of crazy stuff that was legit 5 or 10 years ahead of the competition. We started to see really loyal customer base growing despite zero advertising spend. And the media push just got worse and worse and uglier. It's just like, Tesla's gonna run out of money. Actually, Elon Musk at one point did say, we only have 10 months left. But the media was saying that before he even said that. They're just about to run out of money. They only have a week left or 3 weeks left or whatever it was. There were articles about how actually Teslas are like really dangerous, really unreliable. And yeah, there were panel gaps. And yeah, autopilot has had some accidents and stuff like that. But the way the media paints it is like, never ever buy a Tesla. It's totally untrustworthy. You don't want Tesla in your life. It's a terrible company kind of thing. And they just continued to paint that image. And also, on the other hand, you saw huge, powerful companies shorting the crap out of Tesla. So there was, like GME, I mean, it wasn't over 130% of the float being shorted. It was much smaller than that. But still, you saw this huge downward pressure. But because Tesla had the vision, because Tesla was starting to get sales and eventually became profitable, there was a lot of upward buying momentum. And eventually there was a short squeeze because all these people shorting had to buy back their stocks because their brokerages were like, hey, you don't have enough money if the price keeps going up, so we're going to buy it for you and take your money to pay for that. So we saw this huge short squeeze in Tesla, and soon after that it became like the darling of everybody's portfolios and continues to go until this day. And the difference between Tesla and GameStop is that Tesla is growing to become very, very profitable. And actually, if we see all of the autopilot, auto driving, auto taxi stuff actually take off, immediately every Tesla on the road will be worth like 5x as much. Because when you're not using your car, you can just say, hey, go into taxi mode and go make us money. Tesla will take 20% of that or around there, and then the owner gets to keep the other amount. So we're going to see Tesla become hugely profitable going into the future. GameStop, on the other hand, is actually a dead business model because most people just buy their video games through their consoles now. Like, I have a Nintendo Switch right there, and I buy a lot of games online. I don't need to go to the store to pay them money anymore. So I think that's what a lot of people are hoping to see happen, that short squeeze that pulls GameStop up to tremendous new heights. Who knows if it will actually happen? I know a lot of people are still holding and actually even buying now that it's down at $90 as of today. We'll see what happens. I'm not necessarily recommending you do one or the other. If anything, my way of investing, because I like to sleep at night and have like healthy family relationships and be able to go out with my friends, is basically find companies that have solid fundamentals, good debt management, good vision for the future, and invest in them. And for example, Tesla has worked out to be very good for me on that. So going back to Nokia, like what makes Nokia different? There are a lot of really good things to talk about with Nokia, and I actually made a big video looking in depth in it. So click up here if you want to see that. But some of the highlights of that video include things like Nokia is positioning themselves to be enablers of the SaaS revolution. Their largest clients are CSPs, communication service providers, who power the world's cell networks and internet infrastructure. Therefore, Nokia is a crucial player in what we do every day. They're the biggest player in submarine networks in the world. They're the second largest fixed access network provider in the world. They have 20,000 patents, 3,500 of which are 5G related, therefore making them the biggest 5G related patent licensor. They license out all these different patents to all the other companies who want to do anything in 5G, and they get money for that, like basically forever going forward. They've also positioned themselves to be the leaders of setting up the European Union's kind of 6G standards for the next generation coming in about 2030. They're also working towards getting internet on the moon, which is going to be necessary for all of us who are holding Nokia stocks because we'll be right there with them. And despite a very cyclical nature of this industry, so we have 5G coming in around now, over this, basically starting in 2018, 5G infrastructure is going to be growing over the next few years. So you're typically going to see a lot of income coming in for the 5G ramp up, the 5G rollout, starting in 2018 over the next couple of years. And then you'll have this lull, and then leading up again to 2030, a few years before 2030, the 6G ramp up and rollout. And Nokia is powering like all of the cell phone companies, all of these networks around the world. They're one of the biggest players. And now actually Huawei has been banned from a bunch of countries too, giving Nokia like by default a bunch more market share. So there's like a lot of really exciting stuff about Nokia, despite everybody's preconceptions that, you know, the old brick phones that never die. People just think of that when they think of Nokia, and that's why the stock price is so beaten down. So all that to say, I think it's a little bit frustrating to see Nokia being thrown in with GameStop, AMC, and BlackBerry because it's very different. And I think because it's being thrown in with them, a lot of people automatically write it off because they're like, oh, GameStop and meme stocks, whatever. And then they automatically assume that it has no fundamentals. But actually the story is quite different. So if you find that you've been losing sleep, if you find that you're very stressed, watching all the news, following all the media, figuring out all the deception going on, and like frustrated in general about the whole GameStop debacle that's rolling out, I encourage you to take a longer term perspective on stocks, get in, buy in slowly, dollar cost average in, and then over the years, things will start to look better. I like Nokia and I own some now after I did that video, and that fits into my long-term investing strategy, which has done well for me over the years. So I hope that was helpful for you guys. Feel free to check out the links down in the comments section. Looking forward to hearing your comments or thoughts below. Have a great one.